When the moon hits the sun, like
the moon.
What do you say?
When the moon hits the sun.
No.
When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore. That's amore. Welcome to our casa, and today we're going to be making an Italian-American treasure, the chicken parmigiana. What wine would you pair this dish with? Think about it. There is a perfect wine out there. Yep, you got it. Chianti.
Chianti. This is the perfect pairing for a home-cooked dish like the chicken parmigiana. Just a couple of recommendations. When you buy Chianti, either at the wine store or at the restaurant, look for this word, classico, Chianti classico, or look for the black rooster on the neck of the bottle, which is the same thing. All Chianti classico bring this little rooster on top of the bottle. If you want to have a more woody, bolder type of Chianti, other than Chianti classico, look for another word, riserva, which just means that the wine is aging a little bit more time in wood barrels. This is a fantastic bottle from Fattoria Castelvecchi. They've been making Chianti for more than 1,000 years. Affordable bottle, and for the price you're gonna experience an incredible red wine. Let's open it.
This video is a first-timer kind of for us because we're going to be following a recipe from one of our favorite food gurus of all time, Alton Brown, his magnificent chicken parm recipe. So we're pretty excited. It's actually our first times attempting to make this recipe and our first time following a recipe, so a lot of firsts here. That's not our first time though. This recipe has a lot of different steps. It's a little bit of labor intensive, but I think it's gonna be worth it. There's some pretty interesting steps he does too, like a fun ingredient.
Which is what? We can say now?
Potato chips.
Potato chips!
Cheers to potato chips. First things first, red sauce. Let's make sure that he said 8 large garlic cloves. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. All right, first things first. We're going to use our mortar and pestle because that's what he says to do. And we're following along. So we're gonna start out with 8 cloves of peeled garlic. It says about a few teaspoons of salt, but I'm just gonna pinch it. 2 pinches there. A half a teaspoon of olive oil. I'm gonna eyeball that. All right, now we're gonna work it down till it gets to a nice paste. The first things I bought for myself when I was like 16 for my future apartment in New York City. And look where I am. And now we're ready to move over to the fire. So Alton says to use a medium saucepan. I don't have one that's that big, so I'm going to use a smallish stock pot. And we're gonna add 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil straight in there. Let's turn the heat to a medium heat. And I'm gonna add all of that beautiful garlic paste just worked down. Give it a little stir. And we're just going to cook it until it starts to get a little brown, a little golden brown. When your kitchen starts smelling like actual paradise, I would say that's time to add some anchovies. Now, Alton says 4 anchovies fillet, but my anchovy-loving husband went for 5. We're also gonna add a half a teaspoon of pepperoncino, red pepper flakes. Now we're gonna add 2 cans of whole peeled tomatoes. Alton says to add 1 Parmesan rind, but in the spirit of adding more, we're gonna add 2. Give that a stir. You want to take those pelati, the whole peeled tomatoes, and just use your wooden spoon, break them up as much as you can. Right, once you really have your tomatoes beaten down, we're gonna lower that heat to about a medium low. And we're gonna let this simmer and cook for about an hour. Alton's philosophy is to really reduce the sauce down and get all of the water out of the tomatoes, which is pretty genius because we don't want soggy fried chicken, which now we have to take care of. So we're gonna be using 2 skinless chicken breasts, and we need to butterfly them. So you start at the thickest side and you make an incision through, like you're gonna cut it in half horizontally, but you don't go all the way through, and then you just open her up. Now we need to pound it, so we're going to cover it on both sides with plastic wrap. Use our mallet. We pound it to about 1/8 of an inch. Now once your chicken is butterflied and pounded, we're going to cut it into 6 equal pieces.
Kind of not equal.
You can do 8 if you want. Alton did say 6 to 8 pieces.
So
just cut as many pieces as you'd like, actually. I'm gonna transfer all of these chicken pieces to a baking sheet with a rack. And now we're gonna brine our chicken with some salt. Now we're gonna take some salt and we're going to salt each side of the chicken. Other side. Now we're gonna cover it with some plastic wrap. All right, now we're gonna put it in the fridge. And we're going to let it sit in there to brine for about 30 minutes. So our sauce has been cooking for an hour and it looks beautiful. Look how it thickened up. You can really feel it with your wooden spoon. So we're gonna take it off the heat. And then you need to fish those Parmesan rinds out if you can find them. There you go. Now let's make the breading. We're gonna be using breadcrumbs and salt and vinegar potato chips. Alton Brown, genius. So he uses a Ziploc bag and kind of pounds everything down, but I'm gonna use my food chopper. So I'm gonna put my 1 cup of breadcrumbs. He also uses only 20 grams of these salt and vinegar chips. And by the way, I must say, these are, he specifies really not to use kettle cooked, so these are just regular salt and vinegar chips. But he says to use 20 grams. We're gonna use 40 because we're gluttonous. I'm also gonna add 2 teaspoons of dried parsley, 2 teaspoons of dried oregano, and 1.5 teaspoons of garlic powder. We don't want it to be too fine. We want it to be a little coarse. I love it. Now we take the chicken out of the fridge and we're gonna just take a paper towel and we're going to blot our little chicken pieces. We wanna get all of that excess salt and the water. Now time to dredge and bread. So first we go into the flour, shake off all the excess. Then we go into the egg. Same, shake off that excess. And into our beautiful potato chip breadcrumb combo. And back onto your rack. And repeat. in a large saute pan. Let's heat her up, and we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of butter. And Alton says to use 1 tablespoon of olive oil. I'm just gonna eyeball what I think is 1 tablespoon. And we're gonna melt down that butter. All right, once that butter starts to foam up, we're gonna add our little beauties in there. And we're going to do this in 2 batches because we don't want to overcrowd the pan because they're not going to get crispy. Now we don't touch it, just let them be. We're going to cook them on each side for 2 minutes. We have the heat at medium-high, and we want them just to get golden brown. Flip. Oh yeah. Beautiful. Okay, after 2 more minutes, we're going to turn the flame off. And we're going to transfer over to a paper towel lined plate. Now, Alton suggests that you wipe all of that butter. See, all of that butter and everything got a little burnt. You don't want that in the next batch. Okay, now we're gonna add 2 more tablespoons of butter and 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Repeat with the second batch. Now let's turn on our broiler to high. So we're going to keep with that, trying to concentrate down our tomato sauce, really dehydrate it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take 3/4 cup of that beautiful red sauce. And we're going to put that on the bottom of a 9 by 13 baking dish. And we're going to put this in the broiler for a few minutes. And basically what we're looking for is to get it nice and caramelization going on.
Okay, she added a little bit more.
So this recipe is Alton Brown, but just more. So we're gonna put that underneath the broiler now. Make sure your rack is the 3rd one. Is that 3rd? I'm at 2nd from the top, but that's okay. Put that right under there. And we're gonna let it cook and bubble for about 2 minutes and see what happens. I just tasted a piece of the chicken, everyone. And
we are crying.
This is one of the best things I've ever had in my life. Oh my goodness, they're so good. Okay, time to assemble. Now we've placed them down in a single layer. We take that red sauce and put it on top. Oh my goodness. He said to leave some of it not fully smothered so you still get some of that crunchiness. Then we're gonna add a nice fresh basil leaf on top of each one because it sounded good to us.
This is a variation.
Variation, another variation. These basil leaves are ginormous. I love them. Shredded cheese. Now we have a little bit of a combo of mozzarella and provolone. He used mozzarella and fontina. So I'll just put that on top. We're gonna put that back in, same high broil, until all that cheese is melty and starting to brown on top. Ciao. And just when you thought it couldn't get better, oh yes, chicken parm panini with the one and only panino master. This is why we cut our chicken smaller, so they would fit perfectly. Oh yeah, come on. We've got nothing to say. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell for notifications on future videos. Cheers. There's sauce all over the ground. Oh, and on my pants. Oh God. This is why you don't eat standing up.